To this story now, Trade Union Federation Cosatu is calling on government to review its taxes on fuel. It comes as steep price hikes kicked in at midnight. The increases will also have knock-on effects, of course, on the cost of food and other consumer goods, basically the cost of living. Cosatu says government promised to review the levels in 2019 and 2022, but nothing has been done. The Federation's Matthew Parks joins us now via Zoom. Mr. Parks, thank you very much for your time here on ENCA. Previously, when we saw this type of steep fuel increase, the levy was at least put off for a little bit at National Treasury. Do you think that should be the direction again?
Look, it has to be. We've seen a huge increase in the petrol price today, about 3 rand a litre for diesel and so forth. That really has a massive impact upon an already very fragile and struggling economy. It makes it very difficult for workers who never receive such increases to survive, to take care of their families. We're getting reports of some workers, for example, in the retail sector and other very low-paid industries, who now, most of the salary goes towards just getting themselves to work. It makes it no point for actually to go to work. We think government has to do something. We appreciate that government doesn't control the international oil price, and that's a longer-term discussion we must have. See how do we cushion society from it, but they can do something immediately. Last year, government did very well to give a R1.50 per litre safety cushion to the economy. Yeah. We think they need to do that again now, especially as we move towards the October medium-term budget statement. But we also have to come up with a fundamental, more sustainable long-term relief package. So right now, about 28% of the fuel price goes towards taxes to government. Government had indicated already in 2019 and 2022, the ministers responsible for energy, that they were going to review the fuel price regime. They promised to come back within a matter of months to the nation. They have yet to do so. So really, it's unfair for ministers to make these kind of promises to society, and they recognize there's a problem, and then they fail to honor those commitments. That's a very simple thing that the ministers of finance and minerals and energy need to do. And currently also the Minister of Transport needs to be woken up from some comfort zone where she is currently, because the Road Accident Fund is a mess. Parliament has exposed the crisis, the RAF, that we all know about. It's got huge liabilities of about 400 billion rand and rising. Yet it's dependent upon the 6 rand a litre that goes from the fuel price towards the Road Accident Fund. So at least if you can put the Road Accident Fund under administration, table the RAF and the RABS bills at Parliament to put it on a sustainable financial trajectory, we can begin to reduce the fuel taxes that really are suffocating the economy. But the point is, right now, it's killing an economy. Workers and businesses simply can't afford to continue to bleed so much when it's $3 a litre.
And of course, we all know that, with load shedding also just with us, it's not only the international fuel prices or oil prices that will eventually affect us here in South Africa. Some of what we're seeing is self-inflicted. For instance, load shedding on its own is, inflationary on its own. And if you looked at yesterday's statistics in terms of that 0.6% economic growth, it was actually fueled by agriculture, manufacturing, those sectors that need electricity to actually perform. Yeah,
and so look, we appreciate we're dealing with many crises at once. We're fortunate the economy has shown itself to be a little bit resilient at times with regards to all the obstacles placed in front of it, from load shedding to cable theft to the crisis in Transnet and PRASA, the need to modernize our ports, the collapse of local government, etc. But we need to assist the economy too. And one immediate injection to the economy is simply, and we've done very quickly, is to give fuel price relief. We're worried now that we've seen some progress in reducing the inflation rate. It's fallen now to 4.7% last month. That gives some comfort to workers. But now we have a fuel price hike today that's likely to push inflation up next month. And that's going to then see the Reserve Bank also being overzealous in its responses and likely to see repo rate hikes. Again, some of the workers, the poor, the economy can't afford. So really, government, especially the ministries of finance and DMRE, or energy and transport, need to really move with speed. But also, I think one critical point too is that.
Sorry about that, Mr. Parks. For me, also, it's the fact that the Reserve Bank, every time they up the inflation rate, etc., they always look at food inflation, right? And obviously, petrol will affect the price of bread. And that's where, we're headed. A lot of people concerned about that because we've had a tough year so far with the Reserve Bank upping the inflation rate and the repo rate so often every 2 months. But talk to me about the possibility that, obviously not in the near future, the possibility that BRICS Plus in our relationship with the richest oil producing countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia, that probably will eventually help us at some point if we play our cards right?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You might be more optimistic than me. One would hope so. I know one of the difficulties we have is that different types of fuel can be used in our refineries, etc., our domestic refineries, where we have quite a limited capacity in that regard. But one would hope that with our positive relations with the BRICS countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, even other countries like Nigeria and Angola, Russia and so forth, major oil producing countries, that could become an option. But a more strategic, longer-term solution really is to fix our public transport. Metro rail is key to transporting 10 million commuters in our urban centers across Gauteng, KZN, Eastern Cape, Western Cape to work on time. Yet Metro rail has been in a free fall for some time. There has been some progress in reopening Metro rail lines. So for us, our immediate priority is let's get all those lines reopened, especially, for example, around Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, etc. Make sure we can invest in more train carriages, because that's really key to getting commuters off the roads into cheaper, more affordable public transport. But Metro rail has to be assisted in that regard too. If we want to help reduce food inflation, then we need to make sure that Transnet is assisted to have all its railway lines secured to deal with cable theft, to get more carriages on track. But that's going to help farmers to get the goods to our markets on, cheaper, etc., and reduce that thing. So for that front for us, really what's the most critical things. Longer term, we would love to see our vehicles, be it buses or cars, trains, etc., moving from fuel to electric, because that can be critical to growing the motor manufacturing industry locally. Yeah. And again, to help us be protected from international oil price volatility.
All right, Cosatu's Matthew Park speaking to us there. Thank you very much for your time.